Market's reading right now. Bitcoin pulled back, also down, and everybody on X and social media is screaming bear market. But that's not what's actually happening. This isn't a collapse, it's positioning. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down why this correction is setting up the most explosive alt season we've seen in years. So today we're going to be covering a Bitcoin update, looking at Ethereum as well, and also looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart that everybody's been fixated on. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, tap that like button, and keep that bell notification on so you don't miss out on these YouTube videos. So Oz, let's get into it. Bitcoin dropped, recovered a bit to 16,500 thereabouts. But this move, no top signal?
No, definitely not a top signal, and it's just guys panicking again for no reason, in my opinion. And we'll just look at the short-term Bitcoin play. And a lot of people, what we'll do first is put the fixed range in, the major fixed range in for the whole move that we've had. And what you notice is that you have the top in about $122,000. The point of control comes in around $118,000, just below that. And then a lot of people are looking at $107,000 to $110,000. And I'll tell you why that, it could happen, but I'll tell you why that there has to be a lot more, I would say, signals before, you can even think about getting it to 107, 110,000. So right now, as we're in this, we've hit the top of the range, lost the point of control of the bigger range, and maybe now coming down. And a lot of people are probably thinking we're going down to $107,000. What we want to do is then dissect these ranges a bit and see exactly where Bitcoin could go. And then we look at the previous range, so the mini range, when Bitcoin actually broke out from 110,000 all the way to 120,000. And you get the value area high coming in at 110, so a potential support there at 110, coming back in, and then going and making new all-time highs. But there's another range that I want to show you, and that's this range that we're just in at the moment. What you notice here is, yes, Bitcoin lost the range back at the end of July, where a lot of people were, probably panicking, and sentiment shows that, as a thread I did earlier, where sentiment is, at 43%. Generally 43% people are bearish out there. 20% are neutral, and then there's about 30% who are bullish. The sentiment right now heavily favors the bears. But what you have here is that we've come back into the range value area lows. We're in the value area low, and that's a good sign for Bitcoin at the moment. And, as long as this area holds, which is around $116,000, I would say, there's a good chance we're going to get up to that 118,000, where I think this will be, it could be a significant resistance, because there's actually 2 point of controls coming into this area at 118. But you flip that and you probably go up to 120 before a pullback, and then breaking the all-time highs. So right now, I wouldn't say we're bearish at the moment. I wouldn't be expecting a move all the way down to potentially 110,000, 111,000, or even 107,000, just because we're holding this value area low, which is a key area in my opinion. And holding this zone here at the moment, all I can say is the probable move will be to go up to at least 118,000. So these are some levels to watch. These are just short-term levels. Longer term levels, Bitcoin in my opinion is going to be hitting 150 plus in the next couple of months. So longer term levels, I'm definitely not bearish. On the short term levels, you just have to watch. Obviously, if you're trading this, then you have to kind of watch if you're going to lose the 116,000 level. If this holds, then we're going up to at least 118,000. So long-term bullish. Short-term, I would just be a bit wary in terms of getting too bearish at support, because it is support for Bitcoin, and there's a lot of cries for price nuking and all that sort of stuff. But as long as we're holding this mini range here, it's a mini range. So it's I wouldn't say it's the strongest support, but as long as we're holding this support, then we can easily get up to that 118, and then the next decision point will be made if you're trading these on the short-term levels. If you're investing and you've done a lot of your buys earlier on, and you're just watching the market, then I really wouldn't be too bothered about short-term price action, because I think and I believe Bitcoin's probably going to end up going to, like I said, 150 plus. So That's just a short-term Bitcoin update. I know there's a lot of bears out there. You can see it by the sentiment, but this is far from over, and I think Q4 could be a great time. When we see that cycle high potentially. So let's look at this. I know we don't do YouTube videos very much. It's just when we get time. We do have the weekly member updates for our members where we actually look at range of charts and we actually go into the detail of it. So this is just a quick update for Bitcoin on the shorter term levels. If you want to look at my Elliott wave counts and things like this, then you need to come into the members area. But anyway, Doc, that's just a quick update on Bitcoin.
Okay, so Oz, of course, Ethereum's been holding fairly, it's got some strength, hovering around that 3,600 range. So, let's have a look at the Ethereum chart before we go on to the Bitcoin dominance and where that could go.
Yeah, so with Ethereum, man, let's just take it back slightly. And I put a tweet out, I think it was yesterday or the day before, where it was talking specifically about yearly opens. And this is something I'm really big on, is the yearly opens for most asset classes. And as you can see here, they're in yellow are the yearly opens for Bitcoin going back years. And what you notice is as you hold the yearly open, this is a monthly chart, by the way, so people who are trading the 5-minute chart probably want to look away now, but looking at the yearly opens, you hold them on a higher term time frame, and you're actually in a very bullish year. If we look at just the last 4 or 5 years, we can clearly see that obviously 2022 was a bearish year, and we failed to break that yearly open. After losing it initially in January, setting it in January, we failed to, or Bitcoin failed to break that. In 3 months, consecutive months, it tried, but in the end it couldn't, and we had the major move coming in April, May, June, July, and then finally that bottom happening in November. You go forward and you can see the yearly opens being held is a very bullish sign. Now, if we go into this year specifically, we lost it in February. We tried to regain it in March, but in April we did regain it, and now we made new all-time highs. And if you go to other charts, let's go to, for example, the stock market. You'll see the same sort of play with the stock market. It's new, gaining the yearly open, and again new all-time highs. Yearly open, new all-time highs again. In 2022 we had a bit of a we couldn't gain it, and we had that bear market. So this V-shaped recovery that we had, this is what I was looking at, and in the end this will prove to be correct. But I thought we were gonna have a V-shaped recovery even when we lost it back in February, when it was February, April. I thought we're gonna have a V-shape, just the way the macro was pointing to, all the tariff scares and all that sort of stuff. That's not a systematic breakdown of anything. You look at all of them, the Nasdaq, the Dow Jones as well, regaining the yearly opens. Now if we go into Ethereum now, and it's very it's quite nice that right now in this month, because you'll see that the stock market and Bitcoin, obviously bigger markets, they regain it first, go on to make new all-time highs. And now you see exactly where Ethereum is, and this is a monthly chart, by the way, breaking the yearly open in July, retesting it in August, this current month. And for me now, this short-term moves aside, this is going to make new all-time highs. What you also notice, and I'll give you another piece of kind of alpha here, is that once you make an all-time high in July, the final all-time high will be set much later on in the year. You won't see an all-time high in July and then it coming down. It just won't happen. Generally it just won't happen, right? What you can see, when you do make an all-time high, just if I go back to this year here, which was 2019, you'll see when the yearly high was made, it wasn't in July, it was in June. You see, June can be a month where you can make a high for an asset and then go down. But because now we've made that high in July, but the yearly high I'm talking about, right? So the yearly high was, if you look, the yearly high was previously in January, broke the yearly high in July, retesting the yearly open. Now this is going to continue to make all-time highs. I'm quite, you can never be maybe 100% certain, but I'm as close to 100% certain as possible that Ethereum is going to make all-time highs and break all-time highs, 6,000, 8,000, 10,000. and my targets are obviously, the members know my targets with my earlier wave count. So as I was saying, and then if I just quickly touch on others is just below the yearly open, and it's kind of really interesting that found support on last year's yearly open, and now as Ethereum has broken it, others is going to break it just in sequence. You have Bitcoin first, Ethereum, then others, and others obviously, as you know, is altcoins, and I'll go into that chart in a second. So like I said, with Ethereum, again, if you're bearish on Ethereum, then you really need to think about what you're doing, because in my opinion, Ethereum holding this sort of area here, which has been resistance for a long time, around that 3,000, where we are now, 3,700, 800, above all yearly opens. Now you can see even the 2022 yearly open, which was the breakdown into the bear market, holding this yearly open, and the breakdown of the previous yearly open in 2022, which was 3,681, call it 3,700. Holding this is going to, just like this made it a bear market, holding this will continue into that bull market. So these are some theories that you can kind of learn with us at the Markets Unplugged. Many more charts and things that we go through, but this is why I'm there's no bearish bone in my body at the moment. It's just very calm about what's happening. Short-term moves, you can go up and down a few percent here and there, but if you're positioned correctly, I think there's a lot of gains to be made in these next few months. So that's just a quick update on Ethereum there, Doc.
Yeah, now viewers, if you're finding this useful and want deeper signals before they do hit YouTube and on our social media channels, that's exactly what we break down in the Alpha Insider. Full-on technical analysis, Delta Engine updates, a tool that we've developed, market rotation reads for all the members, and as Oz mentioned earlier in the video, we do members videos weekly where we cover macro charts, Elliott wave counts, and DCA targets from altcoins requested from our members, plus questions and answers that are put on our members channels as well. So anyways, take a look at this and this will explain everything.
Don't let this opportunity slip you by. For less than 65 cents a day, that's the cost of a Snickers bar, you can unlock the ultimate crypto edge with Alpha Insider at the Markets Unplugged. So why join the Alpha Insider? Because you've got Crypto Daily Alpha newsletter, your one-stop resource for the latest news, regulation updates, insights, airdrops, token unlocks, and much more to keep you informed always. Plus, every weekday you've got the Market Daily Alpha packed with daily TA on Bitcoin and altcoins, plus weekly and monthly levels to ensure you're never sidelined or caught mid-cycle. You've got our DCA strategy table that includes more than 25 altcoins with 3 DCA in levels for perfect entry points, plus 3 DCA out levels to take profits strategically to avoid round-tripping your gains back to zero and watch your wallet grow and make sure you stay that way. Plus, you've got access to our exclusive Telegram community to join like-minded people from the Crypto and Markets Unplugged community, and you'll have access to exclusive altcoin charts, vote on the DCA altcoin picks, and ask questions about TA, fib levels, and more. So why wait? Protect your portfolio, maximize your crypto gains this bull cycle with realistic profit strategies. The clock is ticking. This is your last chance to grab the Alpha Insider at an unbeatable price. Click the link below and start your journey with confidence and make this bull cycle count.
Okay, Oz. So now this one is an interesting one, Oz, because when it comes to Bitcoin dominance, it's in the 60s range as well. It hasn't dropped below. You've had your views, Oz. I share those views as well in terms of how it could go down. And it was an interesting chart that you posted on our members video recently, how it could break down. But let's just have a quick overview of what's happening with Bitcoin dominance.
Call it like the A, B, C correction into that wave 2. And now what we're working on potentially is the wave that I think everybody's been waiting for, which is that big wave 3 down of Bitcoin dominance. And whether getting the exact time is also it's not as easy as just saying it's going to go down tomorrow or the day after, but just comparing it to Ethereum, comparing it to how things are, the way I think Ethereum is going to break out. This is how I think, and also the others chart where I think it's going to gain the yearly open. This is how I think Bitcoin dominance is going to break down considerably, and this is the range. So you got the golden pocket here, which we're in at the moment. This is why you're getting a lot of chop inside. This is like the macro golden pockets 6-6 area, and I think once you break down, you know, we're gonna head into at least 54% in this next move down. You know, it could be 54, could be 52%, and this will be you know, about 16-17% move down for Bitcoin dominance, which will obviously, you know, what it'll do to altcoins. You know, whether it's going to chop around a bit more or not, I would say it's very likely that, you know, this is going to break down in the next, you know, week or 2 weeks into August. I think August is going to be bullish, and I think this is going to take a huge dump down to at least the 1.618. So with Bitcoin dominance, if you're not positioned already in your alts, then, you know, I would think about getting entries, you know, when you on red days, not on green days, obviously. You know, a lot of people like to buy on green days, which is a mistake in my opinion. Like today, potentially people will be looking to buy altcoins, but, you know, wait for a red day, but don't wait too long, because I think this is on the verge of now, you know, it could chop around, but I think on the whole, in the longer term, in the next few weeks, you know, going from August to September, I think it's going to break down all the way down to at least 50%, you know, 54, 52%, and that will coincide with, you know, massive gains for alts, especially the good alts. You know, if you're looking at alts, look at the alts that have good setups, that have good 1-2 setups. I'm looking for that wave 3, you know, things that come to mind, things like Says, things like Tau, you know, have good setups. I think they're going to do really, really well. So that's what, in my opinion, you know, if you miss this wave, you've missed, you know, this is not going to come back after another few years. So this is something that I would really focus on, because I think we're going to have a really decent alt season coming in, a really good alt season coming in this next couple of months. So yeah, stay tuned, and we'll hopefully do another update maybe soon when we get time. Obviously members will get the weekly updates, but yeah, that's just a quick update on Bitcoin dominance.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching the video. Make sure you do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and see you guys in the next video.